Welcome to the Calm Analytics channel. I'm Boris Tiesenghausen. Today is May 7th. The main news at this moment. You've likely heard that Russia decided to go ahead with a very fast parade without any vehicles. And I just can't seem to understand. They have an official explanation for why there's no equipment, some kind of terrible threats from the Kyiv regime. But there will be some military personnel at the parade, Russian occupiers, some leaders, foreign guests. So they don't want to put the equipment in danger. But everyone who gathers in the stands, well, that's fine. Interesting. And I saw a poll of Russians who were asked, do you know the parade will be without equipment? They have no idea what's going on anymore. And they were asked, what's your version of why the parade will be like this, without equipment? And notice that there are still those who will justify absolutely everything Putin does. Like, why drive the equipment around? Oh, the gas is expensive there. Well, I'll show you this video now. A classic defense mechanism, but not everyone thinks that way anymore. Watch this video.
Ну ничего страшного, парад состоится, да. Все будет хорошо. Техника пусть отдыхает там, где она нужнее стоит. Что ее гонять? Бензин тратить дорогой.
В этом году на параде 9 мая не будет военной техники. Как вы к этому относитесь? Соответственно, допустим, мой отец к этому относится очень прискорбно. Он прям очень взгрустнул из-за этого. Он хотел своим дочерям, моим младшим сестрам показать танк хотя бы.
В смысле, серьезно не будет? А зачем тогда закрыли Красную площадь? С какой целью? А где она будет проезжать?
Нигде.
А что будет вообще 9 мая, вопрос?
Я думаю, что вообще непонятное событие 9 мая.
В каком смысле?
В прямом. Страна терпит поражение на всех фронтах и празднует что?
Победу в Великой Отечественной.
Не знаю, как сформулировать. Наверное, что-то Россия не то делает.
Почему так думаете?
Но если прекрасный праздник, мы не можем провести, как мы хотим. И как раньше проводили его. Это же был символ. Владимир Владимирович его придумал широко праздновать. И что-то пошло не так. Наверное, в консерватории надо что-то подправить.
В целях безопасности? А кто-то пострадает, что ли, если...
Официальное заявление звучало как из-за активности киевского террористического режима.
Ну ладно, а люди же будут там?
Да.
Но если террор, я просто не понимаю, повредится там 1-2 танка, там же не атомную бомбу сбросит.
Короче, будет, получается, только марш, я так понимаю. Людской, а техники не будет.
Ну да, это опасно.
В смысле, для кого опасно? Она здесь будет проходить. В смысле, если мы заряжены, для кого она опасна будет?
How strikingly different these polls are from those in the first year of the Great War. Back then, I remember that none of the respondents even doubted that Russia would soon win. Yes, there were those who said it was wrong, but no Russian doubted that Russia would win. And notice how everything has changed. The realization has come that Russia will not win this war. And yet the worst for Russians is only just beginning. In the last 2 months alone, a series of events occurred that were unimaginable even a year ago. Missile strikes over thousands of kilometers. Deep into Russia, massive drone attacks on the Russian Federation, burning Russian cities, factories, refineries, ports. Missile alerts are declared 2,500 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. And Ukraine is not stopping its developments. And this means that more drones and missiles will be flying across Russia, and they will be flying further. So how can Russia respond? The same way as in the first year of the war. And in the second, and in the third, there was a real hysteria on Solovyov's show. They asked the question, what will happen if 1,000 Ukrainian drones fly? What will happen? What will happen? Well, we'll find out soon. But meanwhile, in Moscow, during the May 9th parade, the internet and SMS will be completely shut off. The Russian Ministry of Digital Development explained such restrictions as ensuring the safety of festive events. Explain to me, why, for example, is the internet not shut off in Kyiv, even though Russians are constantly launching both missiles and drones at us? I understand that This time on May 9th in Moscow, Russians will celebrate Victory Day over the internet and common sense. Some Russians there started to complain that because of the internet shutdown, they are losing income, businesses are failing. Well, imagine on a nationwide scale, this is a loss of billions of rubles. Well, they got an answer from the Kremlin. They very conveniently trotted out Peskov. And Peskov stated the following, that business support measures for those suffering from the internet shutdown are not on the agenda. In the Kremlin, reported Putin's press secretary Peskov. Come on, Russians, are you joking or what? What compensation? Here you see a Botoxed backside needs saving, and you're on about your internets. And another threat has come, this time from Medvedev. The Russian Federation, in the event of a military conflict with Germany, will destroy the vaunted German industry and possibly European civilization as a whole, Dmitry Medvedev stated. Yes, Medvedev will personally be there destroying Finland. By the way, this one has already gotten drunk before the celebration, or rather he just hasn't sobered up. Who are you going to destroy there, you semi-liquid Terminator? Just who are you going to destroy? I wonder, by the way, if they'll finally put out a high chair for Medvedev at the parade this time, or if he'll be sitting there dangling his legs again. Can you imagine just for a second what would happen if even one small drone appeared on Red Square? I mean, Putin would take off from his 10-centimeter heels. So fast that his stilts would just fly off in different directions. You know how runners start from the blocks? That's how Putin would bolt from those heels. I think under Putin's seat at the parade, there's already a shaft to a tunnel. The fastest way to get down. And there's already a trolley, some suitcase-shaped thing waiting for him. Anyway, that bald trash has thrown a real tantrum out of fear. Be afraid, be afraid. It's only just beginning. You know, I have a well-developed imagination, so I imagined the moment our specialist hacked the broadcast, and during this parade from the loudspeaker on Red Square, suddenly in Budanov's voice, someone says, "Everyone stay in your places. Underground commander, you are under arrest." Putin quickly goes down into the dungeon, but someone has blocked him from below. You see? And at that moment, the camera zooms in on Putin, whose eyes are literally popping out of their sockets from fear. Well, anyway, I think it's an absolutely realistic scenario. And here's hysteria in its purest form. Kyiv may be subjected to a massive missile strike in case of attempts to realize Zelensky's threats on May 9th. Zakharova stated this. She and Medvedev were together, I assume, indulging in some Finlandia. So look, Kyiv may be subjected to a massive strike. Kharkiv, Dnipro, Odessa, Zaporizhia, Kherson, Chernihiv, Kyiv, Lutsk, Rivne, Mykolaiv, and many, many other Ukrainian cities have already been and are being subjected to massive missile strikes without any parades. Russians hit us every single day. What do you want to scare Ukraine with? With what you've been doing constantly for 5 years now? Meaning, don't you dare ruin our parade or we'll keep bombing you just like before. That's the threat from the Russian Federation. By the way, friends, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can do it right now. It's important for the channel's promotion. We're fighting Putin's propaganda here. Let's do it together. So be sure to subscribe. Meanwhile, the Russians got creative again this morning, dropping leaflets from drones over Ukrainian cities. Look, leaflets like these that say our grandfathers were brothers in the trenches, well, in World War II. And we were brothers, but history has pulled us apart. What history? It wasn't history that pulled us apart, it was the unprovoked vile war you started against us. Why do you call that Botox jellyfish history or something? Or maybe Ukrainians should just forget about this war, about the fact that you killed our friends and relatives and stole our children? Are you people sick or what? Will your leaflets bring fathers back to their children? Or return murdered children to their parents? Are you all sick in the head or something? Well, those who created these leaflets, they're repeating everything from Hitler's Germany exactly. The Nazis also used to drop leaflets. Yes, there was no internet back then, obviously, but still, but with the exact same text. I looked up, what kind of text the Nazis had. They had roughly the same content. The German soldier is not the enemy of the Russian peasant. We have come to liberate you. Sounds familiar, right? You've probably heard it already. The peoples of Germany and Russia should not fight each other. So they decided to do everything by the Wehrmacht's playbook. And if Russians really think our grandfathers were brothers in the trenches, then pack your bags and get out of our territory. It's as simple as that. Or if our grandfathers were brothers in the trenches, then give us your territories now. We decided to kill you because our grandfathers were brothers in the trenches. Where's the logic? But what am I saying? The Russian Federation and logic, right? Well, meanwhile, the grandsons of those very grandfathers are explaining to Russians to discourage them once and for all from attacking neighbors that they shouldn't do this. The Unmanned Systems Forces conducted an operation to destroy a Russian occupation forces facility, an entire training center for the preparation and temporary deployment of drone operators in the city of Krystalny in the temporarily occupied territory of the Luhansk region. This training center was an extremely important target. It is located 90 kilometers from the front line, or rather it was. And after long reconnaissance, the operation was carried out by the 9th Kairos Battalion of the 414th Taki Magyara Brigade, together with the Special Operations Center A of the Security Service of Ukraine, coordinated by the recently created Deep Strike Center of the Unmanned Systems Forces. In short, this facility was hit 15 times by middle strike drones with 100-kilogram warheads. The training complex building with an area of 2,600 square meters, and the temporary deployment point building of almost 6,000 square meters. And overall, artillery operators and spotters, other drone operators, instructors and officers were being trained at this center. Visually, there were 30 vehicles on the territory alone. Losses could be very significant. We'll find out soon. This is for your leaflets. And that's not all. In Narofominsk, an attack is reported on the Nara military logistics complex, which belongs to the Ministry of Defense. This was just this morning. This is a huge military hub covering over 200 hectares on the territory of military town number 3. Our drones hit it, and this hub was intended for the storage and distribution of military cargo. Well, it's burning, and soon we'll know the details too. But wait, there is even more. So you don't get bored drawing leaflets there. An oil refinery and a pumping station were attacked in Perm. For the second time in 8 days, one of Russia's largest oil refineries in Perm was hit. Second time in 8 days. Well, Tuapse is certainly crying as it burns, but I think this refinery will be hit again until it burns down completely. And the Russians probably thought Ukraine would be scared of their threats, but Ukraine right now, at this very minute, is testing the air defense of Moscow and its region. Sobyanin stated today that 32 drones were shot down approaching Moscow since this morning alone. The attacks began at night. Most drones tried to hit the capital, and restrictions were imposed at Moscow airports. It's also worth noting that Putin moved all possible air defense systems to Moscow, taking them from other critical facilities. Basically, they chose to cover one Botoxed ass at the expense of dozens of refineries and military plants. Food for thought, as they say. And in every episode, we have an important fundraiser for Ukraine's defense forces. Today, we continue raising funds for electronic warfare equipment for a drone battalion of the 42nd Separate Mechanized Brigade, which is holding the line in the Donetsk direction. The soldiers recorded a video message for you. Please take a look.
Вітаємо, друзі! Ми бійці батальйону безпілотних систем Перм 42-ї окремої механізованої бригади. Зараз працюємо на одному із найтяжчих напрямків, а це Покровський. Звертаємось до усіх глядачів каналу Бориса Ізенгаузена за підтримкою нашого збору. А нам потрібен реп. Для чого нам реп? Щоб наші автомобілі не ставали ось такими, і щоб наше життя завжди було під куполом. Разом до перемоги! Слава Україні! Героям слава!
Let's help our fighters, especially since we have very little left to go in this fundraiser. In this case, your donation will directly save someone's life. Electronic warfare equipment for drone crews is what brings down the Russian drones that are chasing our crews. The link to the fundraiser is in the description of this video. There's Mono, Private, and PayPal for those who want to help from abroad. And there's definitely a QR code in the corner. It always leads to the fundraiser. That's if you're watching me on other channels. Despite the fact that the Russian Foreign Ministry sent a note to foreign embassies and international organizations warning of a possible strike on Kyiv. Well, I was downtown today. Tons of foreigners, all the embassies are in place, nobody's going anywhere. I didn't notice any special warnings on the embassy websites either. Meanwhile, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan refused to go to the May 9th parade in Moscow. Well, I think that no decent person with a conscience should be there at all. Nikol Pashinyan explained this by the election campaign in Armenia, and he informed Putin about it back on April 1st. In general, it seems to me that Putin will now use any means to lure at least someone to this parade. He needs to create some kind of image. I'm not a pariah. Look, Xi Jinping won't be coming. Maybe, at least that way they won't strike at Putin if more foreign guests gather there. But by all appearances, this year it will be a very pathetic sight altogether, a sort of high-speed parade. African dictators will come, the remaining CSTO partners. In short, a volatile mix of this dozing Politburo and African dictators. A hobbling Lukashenko will be there, of course, on whose face, there's always some kind of universal pain, longing, and gloom. Robert Fico is also planning to fly in, but he doesn't know how yet. Sane countries have closed their airspace to him, although, for him it's a way out now to tell Putin, well, I can't fly in. You see, the treacherous European partners won't allow it. Maybe he's calling them himself right now and saying, please, close the airspace. I've changed. I'll be good. Maybe Orban will come, although it's unlikely. Putin doesn't even want him for free now. By the way, they might let Assad and Yanukovych out of the enclosure for a little walk on such an occasion. In short, a dismal sight. Everyone will be glancing at the sky at any sound, checking if a surprise is flying there. That's if the parade actually takes place, of course. Well, meanwhile, the Russian Ministry of Defense is sadly stating at this minute that 350 drones have attacked the territory of the Russian Federation. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, 21 regions of the country were subjected to an air attack. By the way, their officials are already openly mocking the Russians there. Mishustin, the Russian Prime Minister, recommended that Russians listen to the radio. The internet's been cut off. Listen to the radio. He called it the most reliable way to communicate amidst internet shutdowns. He said this, by the way, on Radio Day today. May 7th, let's start handing out the Pravda newspaper to Russians too. No internet, read Pravda, but it should be renamed to Putin's Pravda. Why stop there? And in Moscow itself, security measures are simply unprecedented. This time, by the way, even State Duma deputies weren't allowed at the parade. Apparently, Putin's afraid that one of his own might smuggle in a small drone and secretly launch it right at his balding head during the parade. He's very scared, it's afraid. And you, friends, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel. And I'm asking you, let's help our dear fighters from the 42nd Brigade. The link to the fundraiser is in the description of this video. Have a peaceful day, everyone, and glory to Ukraine.